Yo guys, welcome back to another video. This is going to be the OP9 Bonney versus Shanks matchup guide. As always, I will show you a few deck lists, talk about the game plan and the strategy, the things that I like to do when I'm playing this matchup. I will show you some key cards and mulligans. We'll talk about what I think is the most important, what are the most important things to focus on, and then I'll try and get a game or two for you guys at the very end. But that's it, so let's just jump in and let's get started. Alright, so if you've watched my Blackbeard guide, first of all, thank you for watching that. But you might notice that these deck lists are going to be very similar, and that's because I'm trying to keep all these matchup guide videos within the same core deck list or kind of things to consider, so that it's not just like, oh yeah, this deck is completely teched for this matchup, that's why you're winning. I'm trying to show you the best way to kind of take an all-rounder approach with some key cards that you can tech in if you want to. So we had 9-cost Zoro and Straw Sword for Teach, as you saw if you watched that video. And for this one, we're starting off with just the plain and simple. This is what I consider to be where OP9 kind of ended for us as a Bonney, the general Bonney list that was doing really well at regionals, with just a few slight tweaks that I prefer as far as some of the counter, and I like running 3 of the 0 costs, not 2. But the main things we're going to be focusing on here is obviously it's 9-cost Shanks. So against red Shanks, the new leader from OP9, the best card that green has just in general, in my opinion, is this 9-cost Shanks. And because of this card, Bonney even stands a shot. Without this card, the matchup would be really, really rough, and we'd have to be doing some really weird mid-game shenanigans to try and keep the tempo that we need to get to the end game, or we'd have to be playing these weird flood the board kind of going aggro against Shanks maybe type lists. But thankfully we have this guy, and 9-cost Shanks is really good into a lot of other matchups. Basically the only one he's not really great or useful in is blue Dofi, which is unfortunate because it's oh, best deck in format. But we have other tools for that. So just gonna point out 9-cost Shanks here at the beginning, and then in my opinion the other key card is Hawkins here. And I have run Hawkins at 4 when there was just a ton of Shanks and a lot of black smokers running around in the meta. But I think he's okay at 3. If you don't see a Hawkins, it's not the end of the world against Shanks. If you don't see a 9-cost Shanks, it might be the end of the world. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you see 1, you even playing 2 sometimes can be really, really clutch. We're running 4 9-cost Shanks just because that is the main key card for this matchup. I think throughout OP09, it's up to you, right? If red Shanks is really high in the meta, I really suggest running 4. I think you can get away with him at 3. I think there are lists you can run at 3, but just know that when you hit that Shanks, and if they're kind of out-resourcing you and out-tempoing you, and the one card that is going to save you is multiple Shanks, then just know that you might not be pulling it and you might lose the match because of that. Because most of the time 1 is not enough. You really want to see 2, sometimes even 3 9-cost Shanks. But here's the thing, the matchup at the beginning of 09 was pretty unfavored to Bonney because a lot of people were running the KO control Shanks, and that is very strong against Bonney with running all of the stuff 3 to 4 building snakes, 3 to 4 of the 7-cost new gates, 1 to 2 to 3, some Giga Chads even running 4 of the KO film 10-cost Shanks, and the matchup was just a lot harder. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it, but when things switched and Shanks had to start teching for more stuff like Dofi and Lucci and running and Teach, and just running the 5-cost Ace with Red Hawk package and cutting out a lot of building snakes, cutting out a lot of new gates. Some people still run some of those cards. They're still running some people are choosing to cut the Uta Searcher. Some people keep it in so that they can hit their Yasops and their Ben Beckmans. But at the end of the day, just that list in general, that style that Shanks moved to, made it much more manageable for Bonney as long as you have 9-cost Shanks. Obviously there are ways you can still kind of get lucky and put up some blockers if you can chain 1 or 2 10-cost Dofis. 8-cost kids still really not that strong against Shanks, because even without their KO variants and stuff, they can normally get the power down and just get rid of it, or just swing into it with a big 10-cost rush Shanks or something. It's really hard for us to keep a kid alive against Shanks. So the other main thing is this 9-cost Shanks is an 11k beater, which is just so strong because that just gets over any kind of counter that Shanks can do. If you're only swinging in with 5, 6, 7, Shanks can kind of handle it pretty well with leader effect plus a 2k or like, you know, a 0 cost event or something. So Shanks is the MVP, and then Hody is the other card that I would like to mention, because mid game he's actually pretty strong, because the way we're approaching Shanks is it's a little bit similar to like Lucci, because Shanks is just like red Lucci. He's just Lucci with like a Ronald McDonald wig on, and took his claws and like scratched 3 scratch marks over his eye. So we're trying not to give them too many of the like high value plays for them, where sometimes you do just play Cavendish on curve so you can get a 6k leader swing, but you would probably prefer to play like Hawkins or Hody on your 7 Dawn turn, or like if Cavendish sticks and you can play Hody, that's normally a really strong play, because then you get 3 decent sized swings in. There's just a lot of different ways that you have to kind of approach the matchup, which I'll go into more specifically when we talk about the game plan. But that's it for this deck list. There's one more that I want to show you that kind of has a tech that I've been trying out recently that I think is actually pretty strong. Alright, so this is just one more list here, and this is just one card I want to talk about, is 5 cost Bonney. I know some people, this card came in and out of deck lists during OP9, but I think it does have some kind of good utility against the Shanks matchup, because occasionally stopping Beckman, stopping the Rayleigh on curve, and then just like late game throwing a monkey wrench into their 10 cost Shanks curve can actually be pretty strong. Again, I don't think this is a very necessary card. I took out like 1 killer and 1 carrot. So if you're not seeing a lot of Dofies and you're just seeing a ton of Shanks and you just want one more card in there that might be able to help you tech against it, you could go like 4 Hawkins, or if you want to keep the counter kind of balanced, just throw in like 2 or 3 Bonnies. Test it out. I don't think there's any like one official way to play against Shanks, but I can say without a doubt that 9 cost Shanks is definitely the strongest card in the matchup. So those are the 2 deck lists. I think this is going to be the one that I'll try and use, so that if the opportunity does come up, I can show you guys how Bonney can be strong at times. I think there's some other cards that you can tech, some other cards that you can try out. So let me know if you've been testing anything, or if you find that anything is really super powerful against Shanks. But for me, this is kind of like the tried and true that I've been able to have like pretty decent results with in OP9. I would say when Shanks is not running a control KO heavy deck and you're running for 9 cost Shanks, the matchup is very close to 50-50, but I do think it is just slightly unfavored for Bonney. A lot of that comes down to like how good the players are and how well they're drawing. And when the matchup comes down to like a lot of how well they're drawing into their unsearchable cards, like Shanks is trying to get his Rayleighs, we're trying to get our 9 cost Shankses. And when the matchup comes down to like who can draw more of their unsearchable cards, to me that's a lot closer to 50-50 than it is just like outright being unfavored. I hope that makes sense, but that's kind of how I view the matchup. But let's jump over to the key cards and talk about the mulligans. Alright, so these are the key cards in the matchup. I've already kind of gone over them, but just real quick. We got Shanks, obviously, is the MVP. Then Hawkins, in my opinion. Then Hody. Bonney, the tech card if you're running it. And then your chump blockers are very strong. And I'll talk about this in the game plan part of it, like the strategy for it. But early game and also late game, chump blockers are really, really strong. When people were running 1 cost Bage at the start of OP09, it actually helped the Shanks matchup a ton. Because just having a 1 cost blocker that you can throw down that absorbs a 12k like rush Shanks attack is invaluable in this matchup. But cards like Rosinante are also really, really awesome, because it stops if you've already swung with your Cavendish and you have a Rosie blocker up and they play Rayleigh or something, they can't get the free KO immediately on Cavendish. They have to like, you know, it takes them a lot more work to get rid of that stuff. But these are the main cards. I would say your mulligan is 9 cost Shanks. I think it's pretty rare for Bonney to have just like a 1 card mulligan in certain matchups. I think normally you're kind of like, yeah, this is the one I want the most, but if I get this and this and this, I could probably just wait. If you don't see 9 cost Shanks, I would just straight mulligan the hand. Like, you are probably going to have a better shot of winning if you have 9 cost Shanks and like 4 bricks than if you just had like a bunch of 2k counters and like a 5 cost Cavendish. I know that might sound like kind of counterintuitive or like exaggerated, but just mulligan for Shanks, it's what I do and what normally tends to be the best thing. Yeah, you don't always get it, obviously, even if you're running 4, but you just have to try and pull them. If not, like, I don't know, man. Like, if I don't have 9 cost Shanks, I'm honestly probably gonna mulligan. But if you like ask me what I would do to keep a hand that doesn't have 9 cost Shanks, it would probably have to be like one Hawkins, a Bonney, a Hody, a blocker, and like a 2k counter or something. I don't know, or 2 chump blockers even to like buy time, or a Bonney. But honestly, if we haven't seen Shanks yet, we don't really want to search that much because we're just gonna send them to the bottom. That's something you have to be like cognizant of the whole time. But yeah, just mulligan for Shanks. And as far as going for first or second, I like going first just because Cavendish on curve is really strong. And then if you can go Cavendish into Hawkins into like setup blockers, like even like Hody blockers is fine. Hody chump blocker is fine. Or like a carrot or a second Cavendish if they get rid of your Cavendish. The 9 dawn turn is just really important to set up with at least like 1 or 2 blockers, and or you know, at least get some heavy swings in and start just getting ready to go for the end game, because your late game, what you want to be doing is just spamming your tall bodies, your 9 and 10 costs. And if you don't have the board that is prepared for that beforehand, you're going to be taking more life than you want to. You're not going to be able to protect your own board. So that's why it's really important to set up before you start spamming the 9 and 10 costs. There are some turns when you play 9 costs on curve. Like if they play 7 cost Newgate on their 8 dawn turn and KO something, you kind of need to get rid of that. Otherwise, he's just going to get free value for the rest of the game. If they played a Rayleigh, sometimes you just like rest that Rayleigh so you can KO it with Shanks. But most of the time, you want to keep your Shanks for their 10 cost Shanks, because if they get 2 on the board and you're not able to KO or get rid of any of them, you're going to be in hot water, and it's going to be really hard. And also, one quick thing about going first or second, I do think sometimes you can make an argument to take second to steal away like their obvious, like Rayleigh on curve and Shanks, like rush Shanks on curve, can be kind of strong. But I think giving them, most of the time, Shanks I think wants to go first just because they have that Yas up most of the time. They have the Ben Beckman, and then they have Rayleigh on 9 and then start spamming things on 10. So even though you're giving them the potential play of like Rayleigh on curve and 10 cost Shanks on curve, they don't have extra Dawn to do anything outside of that, which makes it easier for you to like judge how many and what power the attacks are coming in at. So let me know if you have a preference, but for me, I think first is just stronger in general, so I would go with that. But yeah, that's going to be it for the key cards and the mulligans, so let's jump over and talk about the game plan. Alright, let's talk about the game plan. I threw Cavendish in here just because he is kind of a key card, but he's kind of always a key card, so I didn't know if I should include him. And I wanted to talk about the other cards more. But here's the plan. I'm going to quickly go over like the bullet points that I kind of have, and then maybe talk a little bit more about some of them in more nuance. But obviously, like I was saying, in my opinion, take first. Mulligan for at least 1 9-cost Shanks. And then the other main thing that you kind of want to be doing early and mid game is, when possible, always swing 6k or more at leader. Shanks' leader effect makes it so that obviously one of your 5k attacks gets nullified. And if you're swinging at least 6k with all their attacks, you're getting 2k counters out of their hand, or forcing them to use leader effect maybe when they might not want to, and just forcing them to use leader effect plus a 1k counter. And their 2k counters are more easily disposable of, but sometimes they don't want to get rid of the the Lucky Roo or the Ben Beckman that's in their hand. So if you force them into using leader effect plus a 1k that they don't want to get rid of, that's really, really strong. And then you want to be making these kind of like mid-game plays that are most efficient for you and make it harder for them to get high value out of their Ben Beckmans and ACOS Rayleighs by playing down cards like Hawkins and Hody that are not easy to KO or are not able to KO. And then right before like your 9 dawn turn, in my opinion, try and set up again with like either 1 to 2 blockers, or press their life pretty hard, or put them on the back foot a little bit. And then for your 10 and 10 dawn turn beyond, occasionally 9 dawn turn you're playing Shanks, but most of the time I think it's best a little bit later on, once they've played their first rush Shanks or have a 7 or 8 cost that is on the board that you can KO. Just start playing your Shankses and keep playing Shanks. Make sure you're not taking too much life. Block when you need to. Protect your characters when you need to. And that's about it. It's pretty simple, but of course there are some nuances there. Like I was saying, the attacking 6k plus is really, really strong. If you play Cavendish on curve on 5, you still get to swing 6k with leader. If they play down a Lucky Roo, sometimes I'm feeling spicy and I'll throw down Cavendish, swing 6k, and be like, what are you going to do about it? Most of the time, they'll KO Cavendish, but if I really want to get rid of that Lucky Root, or if I have a second Cavendish and that's going to be like my only play the next turn, occasionally I will actually just do that, because getting rid of that Lucky Root early on can sometimes kind of save you in the end game. When sometimes if that Lucky Root stays on the board because you're focusing on other characters and you just keep like resting it with leader effect, they can get like 3 blockers like on their 9 on their 10 on turn, play like a Rayleigh, another Lucky Root, and leave 1 up, and then they have 3 blockers and a Dawn up. So it is something to consider. If you have a Carrot or something like that too, and you don't have a better play like a Hody or a Hawkins, Carrot can be pretty strong too for locking Lucky Roos, Yasops, and Ben Beckmans. But again, Shanks is kind of like Lucci, where we want to just play out our characters that are harder to KO or like almost impossible to KO through effects, and then like Lucci would be Hawkins and 10 cost Dofi, Shanks is Hawkins and 9 cost Shanks, in my opinion. That's how I like to approach the matchup, and it simplifies things for me, and I think it just makes it just hard for them to get full value out of a lot of their cards. Even if they're running like the control KO version, if you're playing down Hawkins and Shanks and like that's basically it, yeah, maybe they got rid of your Cavendish earlier on, but it's really hard for them to start like just properly getting rid of things late game. And if they don't draw their 10 cost Shanks, like their rush Shanks and stuff, they're probably not running Dragon if they're running the more control KO version, so it's less rush that you have to worry about. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like the game plan is pretty simple. I think 10 cost Dofi can be strong late game, but you really want to prioritize 9 cost Shanks. If Shanks doesn't come, 10 cost Dofi is a nice stall card, but just be careful because you still have to deal with those characters later on. And if you only have 1 Dofi and like 0 Shanks, yes, you can survive an extra turn, but you're gonna have those 3 characters attacking again, because I find it normally a bit stronger if you can play 9 cost Shanks first, KO one of their big bodies, and then if you have you don't have a second Shanks but you have 2 Dofis, that's normally pretty good, because you can play down the Dofi, lock their characters, and you at least have this like 11k beater that can swing over a Beckman, get rid of it. So you're still like getting rid of their board and putting pressure. Or if they only have like 2 life at that point, you stun their characters, swing into life, get them down to 1 or 0 or whatever it may be. You just gotta think things through and like play your top end as efficiently as possible while trying to make their plays as inefficient as possible. And late game, if you are in a pinch and you just like know like, man, another rush Shanks here would kind of end me, you can just play a Bonney, stun their Dawn, or you know, play a Bonney and stun one of their attacks that are coming in, because leader effect plus Bonney just means you stopped 2 attacks, which, like, you know, may not seem that strong, but that's incredibly strong, and no other leader can do that. So yeah, just something to consider there. She's not always like, you don't always have to play the 5 cost Bonney on curve, like to stop your opponent's curve. Sometimes it's just good as like a late game card. Honestly, I don't think people play this that much, so it kind of catches your opponent off guard there too. But yeah, that's about it. 9 cost Shanks, 9 cost Shanks, 9 cost Shanks, and try and win the game. But that's it for the game plan. Let's jump over to the actual gameplay. All right. Okay, lucky us. We're gonna go first. Oh, all right. We're gonna keep this. This is not great with the ACOS kid, but we have a blocker, a counter, and Dofi's fine too. Dofi's fine. So if we get a 0 cost, we have a good target for that. Okay. I would politely like to ask the department of cards to chill. Okay, they give us a 2k. Nothing crazy there. That's annoying. They have Lucky Roo. We're gonna take this one. Dude, they always have it, man. It's kind of crazy. People are running them at like 4 probably right now. People took him out for a little bit, or lowered him quite a bit in OP9 over in the east. So it's just like interesting seeing him pop up again so much. All right. It's fine though, because we just rest him, right? We'd like a Hawkins or something here. We're gonna have a pretty weak turn 4, I don't know if we'll be able to play Hody. We might be able to play Hody. We'll see. It depends what they play here. 6, I want to counter out of 5. It's probably Yasop. It's gonna be a 6k. Hongo. Okay. Hongo we would like to punish. Only problem is not leaving a Dawn up is bad. So what are we doing at 9, right? I think this will be okay. Oh, nice. So let's go 5 here. Hopefully he takes it. I've seen people save Hongos. And like if you're playing revolves around it, I kind of get it. But I would really like to get rid of both of these this turn. That would be kind of amazing. And then we don't get punished for not having a Dawn up. And we got the 0 cost for Kid. This is good. This is good. I think our life was Shanks though, yeah. I mean, it depends on what's in your hand, right? But sometimes, yeah, that's fine. So we're gonna do that. I know that might look crazy, but it's really, really important to get Hongo off the board. Rayleigh's kind of annoying here. Oh man, he has Dragon. Alright, Dragon's gonna be 11. But if we take this, he'll just go into life probably. Like, we just have to do this. Because we can go to 11, 12, 13. Okay, we can get out of it. We'll get out of it. If he swings 11 into Hody with Dragon, we get out of it. It's probably worth it. Yeah. Okay. We didn't have the 1k, but it's whatever. Alright. That's not what we want to see, but it's chill. It is what it is. No blockers and no counters. This is putting the game on a clock here, but we got our Shanks. Like, we have the end game, right? We got our end game here. Only problem is going to be like if we start drawing into a bunch of extra counter lists. I mean, we're running out of counter lists that we can even draw into, so. Oh my god. Please attack Hody. Please attack Hody. Please attack Hody. Yes. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, we can get out of like not getting out of the 5k there sucks so bad. It really does. Okay. We're both drawing pretty fair. Or like pretty well. Nice. Getting that lucky root out of the way now is pretty decent. Yeah, I figured as much. He almost made a terrible mistake. Oh. What? Why did he do that? Dude, what? This never happens. Okay. Why are we getting so lucky? I think he was trying to do a really cheeky counter check there. That doesn't make sense at all. If anything, you swing over my Shanks if you don't think I have counter. I hope that misplay doesn't end up being like the reason that we win. Because I hate when games kind of come to that. But I mean, we're high rolling out of our brains right now, so. But so are they. Yeah, and they just GG. Man, okay, well, all right. I'm probably going to keep this in as an example to show like what happens when, if you just draw into your 9-cost Shanks, this is what pretty much happens. Like, late game, you KOing their bodies and having the pressure of an 11k beater is just so much stronger than what Shanks is actually doing. Unless they're running like a really control KO heavy build, then they're essentially doing the same thing, but they start doing it a little bit earlier. So it just carries over into the late game. But I mean, like, this is not normally how it goes. You don't normally get this. So I'll have another game for you guys. But to be honest, like, even if they hadn't made that weird misplay, and even if we only saw like 2 of them, if we had our Doflamingos, I mean, we were breaking like crazy though. That's the thing, is like we fortunately had some counter coming in. But another turn or two of not having counter and we just lose, right? So yeah, GG's to this guy. I know that must have been annoying to play against us, just kind of like high rolling. But I mean, theirs wasn't too awful. They had Lucky Roo on curve and then Dragon into double Shanks. It's just we had the answers for all of them, right? But yeah, GG's to them, and let's try and get another game going as well. Alright. They're going second, we're going first, so we will mulligan into a not great hand. Bonney. So if this kind of thing happens, what I try and do is damage control by searching out Hawkins at least. Hodie's okay, that's kind of chill. He's a pretty chill dude. Do we need 2K? This is a weird. That was a weird search. We just sent like, that was 2 rosy blockers to the bottom, which actually kind of sucks. Not even having like a chump blocker in the pocket kind of sucks. But these 2 could do some work. We'll see. Honestly, okay. Good 5 costs to have. At least we can't complain there. Where's top end? So I will complain. I will complain a little bit there. But this is good. No Lucky Roo is chill. That's chill for us. I feel like if they get Lucky Roo on curve going second, it just makes the game a little bit harder for us. Because if you play too much around Lucky Roo, it kind of throws you off. And if you don't play around it enough, you can get punished. But at the end of the day, it still just comes down to the top end that you draw. I mean, like, Hawkins here would be nice. I mean, you could still play Lucky Roo, and I would not like it. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, Marco's chill. Marco's a chill little dude. Alright, Hawkins would be so good here, though. But we can stop the Rayleigh play. Stop the Rayleigh. Stop the Rayleigh. Carrot's honestly not that bad either. I mean, we could Hodie. We're at 4. This is risky. We could also like Carrot or Bonney. Let's do this. I'm gonna do this. 6. This doesn't get around Beckman, but what are you gonna do? 6/6 blocker. Because no Beckman, if he has the, no Rayleigh, if he has the Beckman, he's swinging 6K. And I probably, if he only plays Beckman, okay, all right, already changing plans. What is that gonna be? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 available. Well, I mean, we counter out of this. Could he lower and try and, would that be Hongo? Yeah, okay, just a Rayleigh blocker. That's chill. That's a chill little dude. 9 cost Shanks here is terrible, so we won't be doing that. We'll just be playing Hodie and trying to take advantage of Rayleigh blocker first. We're not going to go for Marco here. He has too many cards in hand, and I don't know. I haven't seen, I don't think, any events yet. Okay, that's chill. That's freaking sick, bro. And that gives us back up to 3. Then we just go 6 here first. 6, 7, 7. This is the kind of pressure I like to apply. If you're good, like when I was talking about like strong mid game plays, this is what I was talking about. And this shows you the power of 5 cost Bonney, right? They probably have a Rayleigh in there, and they were probably licking their chops, thinking that they had a really nice play coming down. Like, oh, he thinks that Cavendish is so beautiful and handsome. Well, guess again, buddy. Oh, and we get the 2 1Ks. All right, that's great. We're getting a little fortunate here. I'm not gonna lie, but I think we're playing smart, so we're getting rewarded for it. Because now it's like, bro, if you have Rayleigh, sure, go ahead. Like, it is still pretty strong. You can like minus, no, because yeah, I have this. Yeah, so you have to KO this. Yep, exactly. And then if I have the counter in hand, which I sort of do, let's see. We want to keep. Oh, he's a 3K. All right, hold on. We can rest Rayleigh here too. This is -2, right? So it's a 4. So if we take this and rest Rayleigh, then you can swing into here and we can protect it, and then we play Shanks. Because if we, yeah, no. Because he's swinging 8, I'm gonna do it this way. Because he's swinging 8, I'm gonna do it this way. If he swung less, I would consider countering out. So now if he swings leader, we counter out with Bonney. If he swings at Bonney, we counter out with good old Izo. Alright, we chillin'. Bing chillin'. Not the strongest, but like, they're probably at least going down to 2 here, yeah? Well, probably going down to 2. Can't attack with this Bonney. Boom! Sucker! So, 10 cost Dofi or another Shanks to back this up is what we really want. So that's not gonna happen, potentially. So, this is where it's like, we could lose. Double Rayleigh is also very annoying. But this time it's much harder for him to get out of this. I hate you, Rayleigh. I hate you so much, you handsome bastard. He's going 8. Nah. Okay, that's actually not too bad. We can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6, and 11. Yeah, okay, this is actually not too bad. I don't hate this. We're gonna play Cavendish and Carrot, by the way. That's what my random mumblings are. Whoo, baby. Whoo, baby. Whoo, baby. Oh, we had to take both of those. That's really good. Whoo, baby. Whoo, baby. Now it's really hard for him to... Man, if we had another Hody in the pocket, that'd be sick. We're not out of the woods yet. We're not out of the woods. We can lose this one, which is unfortunate. Bro. Ma'am? I'm gonna have to ask you to stop doing that, but that's GG's, because he... No blockers? Yeah, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Say my name, whenever you're around me. Say, baby, I love you. Let's see, 9, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 21. He literally does not have enough counter. He could get up to 21, I think, if my math is correct. Oh. Dang, he almost had it too. Okay. GG's to them. Whoo! We got the GG too. This guy's a good guy. That was a good match. I enjoyed that. GG's to them. Alright. I think that was a good one. That was a pretty good one. We didn't super high roll. That dude had 3 Rayleighs, but you can see that, like, if you only have like, Shanks can get caught with his pants down, right? Like, if you have too many bricks, or if you have all offense, no defense, all brakes, no gas, like, those types of things can happen. And I'm telling you, like, 1 9-cost Shanks goes so far, and can be really strong for us. And I think we played it kind of smart. I think we did get a little bit luckier draw than them, like a little things kind of went our way. I think our Hody was well timed. I think we took the life that we should have. We countered out of what we needed to, and yeah, GG's to them. That was a good game. I think that was a pretty good example of, like, kind of how to play against Shanks as Bonney. So, good one. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for the video. I hope it was helpful. I hope that gave you some kind of, like, some rules to follow, some things to look out for. Really, like, I can't say it enough, but 9-cost Shanks really is the star of the show. So as long as you draw into one or two of those, you have a real shot. If not, you kind of it is harder. You have to kind of, like, play around things and just try your best with what you have. But there are other tools, like, you know, it's not an impossible matchup, but it really does hurt if you're not drawing your Shankses. So please keep that in mind. Let me know if there's other kind of ways that you like to tackle the matchup, or if there's any other particular matchups in OP9 for Bonney that you'd like to see. And check out the Blackbeard one if you haven't already. I think that one's pretty good. And I'll come up with some other ones for OP9. I'll probably try and do some other leaders and stuff too, but Bonney was the leader I mained the most in OP9, so I wanted to get these out there to try and help you guys with the start of the OP09 meta in the West. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. As always, consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video. But that's it. Just really appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.